What if I told you that the person who always turns off the lights, closes the curtains, and prefers sitting in a dark room is not weird? They might actually be psychologically different in fascinating ways. Have you ever noticed how some people feel calm in dim lighting, while others feel anxious? Why do some people hate bright rooms? Is it depression, trauma, intelligence, introversion, or something deeper? Today, we're breaking down the real psychology behind people who prefer darkness, and some of it might shock you. If you're someone who keeps your room dark even during the day, feels overstimulated by bright lights, thinks better at night, or feels safer in dim spaces, this video is for you. And if you know someone like this, you may finally understand them after today. Let's begin. 1. The brain and light. Light directly affects the brain. When bright light enters your eyes, it stimulates the hypothalamus, the part of your brain that controls alertness and mood. Bright light increases cortisol. Darkness increases melatonin. Some people's nervous systems are more sensitive than others. Highly sensitive individuals process sensory input more deeply. For them, bright lights can feel aggressive, overwhelming, mentally exhausting. Darkness reduces sensory load. It quiets the world. For certain brains, darkness isn't scary, it's relief. Emotional safety. 2. Psychologically, many people who love dark spaces are highly introspective. Introverts tend to have higher cortical arousal levels. That means they get overstimulated more easily. Bright environments, noise, and activity drain them faster. Dark rooms create fewer distractions, less stimulation, more mental clarity. It becomes a controlled environment, a thinking space, a world where their inner thoughts feel louder than the outside world. 3. Is it linked to depression? Now let's address the elephant in the room. Does loving darkness mean someone is depressed? Not necessarily. However, depression can reduce motivation to open curtains or engage with daylight. But here's the difference. If someone avoids light and avoids people, feels hopeless, has low energy constantly, that's different. Liking darkness alone is not depression. Context matters. Sometimes darkness is comfort. Sometimes it's withdrawal. The psychology depends on the person. 4. Control and autonomy. Light is external. Darkness is controlled. When you turn off the lights, you choose the environment. For people who crave control in chaotic lives, a dark room is something they can manage. No glare, no exposure, no pressure, just quiet dominance over their space. That feeling can be powerful. Cognitive depth and reflection. Another psychological trait often linked to people who enjoy darkness is cognitive depth. Dark environments reduce external stimulation, which allows the brain to shift inward. Instead of constantly reacting to the outside world, the mind begins exploring internal thoughts. People who spend time in darker environments often report deeper reflection. They replay conversations, they analyze situations, they examine their own emotions. This kind of thinking is sometimes referred to as metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. Metacognition is strongly associated with self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and complex problem-solving. When someone sits comfortably in a dim room for long periods, they may not be doing nothing. Their brain may actually be processing information at a deeper level. Darkness removes visual noise, and when the brain has fewer external signals to process, it can dedicate more energy to internal thought. This is one reason philosophers, writers, and strategists often prefer quiet, dim environments, not because they dislike the world, but because darkness gives their thoughts more space. Emotional processing. Dark environments can also make it easier for the brain to process emotions. Bright environments stimulate activity and alertness. Darkness does the opposite. It slows things down. Heart rate decreases. Mental stimulation lowers, and the brain begins entering a more reflective state. In this state, people may find it easier to confront feelings they normally avoid during the day. Sadness, confusion, personal questions about life. The quiet atmosphere of darkness can act like psychological privacy. Without constant stimulation or social pressure, people can examine emotions more honestly. For some individuals, this emotional processing is extremely important. It helps them regulate stress, understand themselves better, and reorganize their thoughts. In that sense, darkness can function almost like a mental reset. The protective mindset. Another interesting psychological explanation is what researchers sometimes describe as environmental protection. Humans naturally scan their surroundings for threats and social signals. Bright environments expose us. We feel visible, observed, evaluated. But in darker environments, the brain often feels less exposed. There is a sense of reduced social pressure. For people who are naturally private or introspective, this can create a feeling of safety. The brain relaxes, guarded mental defenses drop, and the person feels more comfortable existing without performing for the outside world. It becomes a psychological shield, a quiet zone where the mind doesn't have to constantly respond to external expectations.
The misunderstood side. Society often associates darkness with sadness, fear, isolation. But psychologically, darkness can represent depth, reflection, emotional complexity, intelligence, creativity. Not everyone who loves the dark is broken. Some are simply wired differently. So the next time someone prefers a dark room, don't assume they're sad. They might just think deeply, feel intensely, create quietly, or protect their peace. Now, I want to ask you, do you prefer light or darkness, and why? Drop your answer in the comments, and if this video described you a little too accurately, subscribe, because we're just getting started.